Hi, I'm Matt Einen with Orion Packaging. We've recently introduced our newly designed controls package on our flex machines. Some of the key features of this new platform are that it has a 7-inch high-resolution touchscreen. Along with that, we have a lot of new features and functionality. All of these things will help to make the machine more operator-friendly. You'll have increased troubleshooting and diagnostics capabilities. And just a lot more adjustability. So with that, I'd like to go through some of the screens and get you familiar with our new layout. We'll start out by pointing out that the navigation pane on the left-hand side is where you're going to be able to navigate to all of your different screens. Our first screen is the run screen. So this is going to have all of the basic operator functions of the machine. You can see on the right side that you have a start cycle button. That will be used to actually start the machine. Also in that area would be a pause button or a resume button if you are running the machine and would like to pause it, or if you are paused and want to resume the cycle. The second button is the reset cycle button. This is where you would clear any displayed faults that are happening on the machine. You can also use that to abort the wrap cycle that is currently running. The third button is the reinforce button. When the wrap cycle is active, you would be able to hit this and it would apply reinforcement wraps to the load. Next one is the high or low speed button, and you can press that to select between high or low speed operation of the machine. And the last button is the home machine button. So this will bring the carriage down to its home position at the bottom, and it will also bring the main drive to its home position as well. In the center, where the Orion icon is right now, this will actually display any information pertinent to the machine. If I was to e-stop the machine, you can see that a graphic pops up and tells you exactly what's going on. If our carriage door was opened, you would also see that appear here as well. When each fault condition is cleared, that picture will go away. So right now it's telling me that I need to press the start button to reset control power. And once I do that, the machine will initialize and we'll be ready to start the machine. At the very bottom is our message banner, and that will tell you any information that the operator needs to know about what is currently going on with the machine. The second area of the navigation pane is our wrap settings. This would be any type of parameters that the operator would want to adjust that it will pertain to the wrap cycle. You can change the top wraps, the bottom wraps, the carriage up speed, and the carriage down speed. You can also change the wrap direction, whether you want to wrap the bottom first, wrap the top first, or wrap up only. Here you can choose whether you are going to run the machine in low speed or high speed. And you can also select whether the load that you're running is an unstable load. Here you can choose whether you want to use the auto height or not. And here you can either enable or disable the film fault. You'll notice in all of the screens you'll have an eye icon in the top right. When you press that, the machine will show you every button or data point that is on that screen, and will give you some information about that, including the minimum and the maximum value. The third area of the navigation pane is the menu. And here you can go to the jogging screen, the recipes screen, or the production data screen. We'll start with jogging. On the jogging screen, you can do a few different functions, starting with homing the machine, or you can jog the main drive individually, or you can jog the carriage up or down, and you have another reset cycle button here too. To go back, you just need to press the navigation button that is currently active. And now I'll show you the recipes. This screen will show you all of the different recipes. It will show, or it will allow you to change between those recipes. So whatever is highlighted in green is the current recipe that you're running. If you want to view the information that is contained in each one of the recipes, just select the View All Recipes button. Here you can see that it will show you the actual name of the recipe. You can actually click on that and change the name from recipe 3 to something that that more accurately represents the type of load that you are running. Hit the check mark to accept any changes, or hit the X button to cancel. You can see that using the previous or the next buttons, you can cycle through all of the different wrap recipes. The rest of the screen will show you all of the different parameters that are contained in that recipe. This is a view-only area. You cannot actually change any wrap settings from here. You will have to do that either on the wrap settings screen or on the machine settings screen. So as you can see, you cannot actually modify them here. So the values that are contained in the recipe are the recipe number, your top wraps, bottom wraps, carriage up speed, carriage down speed, the auto height delay, the wrap direction, the speed selection, whether or not you have the unstable loads enabled, your film tension, slow down position, and how many reinforcement wraps you have active. On the production data screen, you'll have lifetime cycles or shift cycles. If you want to clear out the shift cycles to accurately show how many loads you have done in your current shift, just need to hit the reset shift cycle button. The next area that we'll go through is the machine settings navigation tab. Here you will have settings pertaining to the main drive, to reinforcement wraps, to any timers, machine setup, factory defaults, the multi-stretch, VFD parameters, or Instacut. On the main drive, you can change the end of cycle position, which is your home position, your slowdown position, which is the point at which you start slowing down to find home at the end. And you can change the speed of your main drive VFD when you're in either high speed or low speed. You can also home the machine so that you can see the effect of any of your changes to the end of cycle position. On the reinforce screen, you can change the amount of reinforcement wraps that are applied to the load every time you hit the reinforce button. If this is at 0, the machine will apply reinforcement wraps as long as the reinforce button is being held. On the timer screen, you can change any of the timers in the machine. The first one would be your auto height delay, your tension and gauge delay, and your film fault delay. On the machine setup screen, If you are logged in at a high enough level, you'll be able to change the model of the machine. So here I can select between an A model, a D model, or an S model. You can select whether your main drive is a turntable or if it's a rotary arm. You can change whether or not you have Instacut on the machine, whether your sprocket is 96 teeth or 112 teeth. And if you do have a rotary arm, you can select whether or not the arm will back up at the end of the cycle. From here, you can also change the default security level. So right now I have admin level selected as my default level. So that will ensure that I never log out to a level any lower than the admin level. If I wanted my machine to log out to be fully logged out, you could select no login, or you can select user level or maintenance level. So once again, this is the level that you will default to on startup of the machine or any time that the logout button is pressed. The start delay, you can see that you can change the start delay of the machine. So this is the amount of time that the start button needs to be pressed before the machine will start. You can also go to the factory default screen, and this is where you can restore all of the factory default parameters once your machine is set up. You can also restore all of the default network settings, which would include your IP address, your subnet mask, and gateway. This is another way to get to the factory default screen. This is where you go to adjust any of your multi-stretch settings. You can see that right now you are not able to adjust anything other than the film tension. The film tension can be adjusted at any point. If you need to modify your zero trim, your gain, you need to press the Modify Settings button. So at this point, you can make adjustments as needed. And when you are done, you cannot do any other function of the machine until you hit Apply Settings. That will apply the settings that you've modified, and it will allow you to go back to normal operation of the machine. Your VFD parameter screen allows you to download the default VFD parameters. You can see at the top, we actually check to verify the size of VFD that is currently installed. So we can see that all three of our VFDs are half-horse VFDs right now. So once we've identified the VFD, you can press the download buttons, and you can do that individually. You can either do the main drive, carriage, or multi-stretch individually, or you can download all. So based on the size of the VFD, this will determine what parameters are dropped into the VFD. The Instacut screen will allow you to make any changes to the Instacut parameters. You can either disable it or enable it on this screen. You can change the punch position, the punch dwell, the brake position, the tear duration, the Instacut speed, which is the speed that the table travels during the Instacut portion of the cycle. And then you can see whether or not the Instacut puncher is being activated by watching this indicator. The next area we'll go through is Diagnostics. The first area is the inputs. So this will show all of the inputs that are currently being used on this machine. and whether or not they are active. The indicator will be gray when there is not a signal on that input, and will be green if there is a signal on that input. The output screen operates in the same way. You can see that the only physical output that we have coming out right now is the film severance relay, and that is not active. On the VFD screen, this will show you information pertaining to each one of the VFDs. It'll show you the serial number of the VFD, the module ID, which is essentially the part number, and the state of the drive as shown on the faceplate of the actual VFD if we were looking at it in the panel. Then you can see some other different statuses that are useful in troubleshooting. On the right side, you can change between the carriage, the turntable, and the multi-stretch VFDs. The HMI page will allow you to change different settings within the HMI, so you can select your language on top. You can see that change as we press those. You can change the brightness of the screen, or you can do a touch calibration if needed. You can change the IP address, the subnet mask, and the gateway as long as you are logged in to a high enough level. And you can also change the date and the time. The maintenance log page will show whether or not there have been any maintenance reminders that have been popped up onto the screen. And we'll also show you whether that reminder was snoozed for 100 cycles or whether it was acknowledged saying that that maintenance has been completed. The fault history will show a history of all the different faults that have happened on the machine. The troubleshooting button will bring you to a troubleshooting guide. Give you some possible causes and solutions. If you want a full manual on your phone or your tablet, you just need to scan the QR code, which will bring you to a landing page where you can select the model of machine that you currently have. The login screen will pop up a login window. The top is where you enter your password. When you have entered a valid password, you will see the login status changed, that the login status has changed. Right now you can see that I'm logged in as an administrator. If you want to log out, you can hit the logout button. So that will bring you down to whatever your default security level is, and it will also bring you back to the run screen. One of the great features about our new Flex platform is the ability to remotely monitor and diagnose the system itself. In order to set your machine up for your remote diagnostic capabilities, the first thing that you're going to want to do is set up your network parameters on the touchscreen itself. In order to change your network settings, you must be logged in as an administrator, and you can go to Diagnostics and HMI, and then you can see that your network settings are all in this area. You'll have to contact your facility's IT department to get the correct network settings that they would like you to use. When you have those settings, you can enter those in. And when you are done making your modifications, make sure that you hit the save icon. At this point, once you've entered your settings and have hit the save icon, you are ready to go to the next step. The first thing that you need to do is open the panel. The next step would be to actually plug in a Cat5 Ethernet cable from your facility's network into the Ethernet port of the HMI. When your machine is connected to your facility's network, you just need to open up an internet browser and go up to your address window. From there, you type in the IP address of your machine. In this case, it's 192.168.1.2. And then I will put a / and type in dashboard.asp. When I hit enter, you will see our machine dashboard come up. So from here you can see what operation the machine is currently in. It would show you whether it was e-stopped, whether it was running, if it was faulted, and any of those different scenarios. You can also see the total life cycles of the machine, the total shift cycles, how many pallets were run last hour. From top to bottom, you can see the most recent faults that were recorded on the machine. And then at the bottom, you can see some recipe information. So here we show the recipe that is currently running and its name, whether or not unstable load was enabled, the wrap direction, whether it was in high or low speed, and then the top and bottom wraps, film tension, and how many revolutions the machine completed in the last cycle. So that is a brief overview of the new Flex HMI screen. If you have any questions, contact your local distributor.